All right. So week 12 picks are upon us. Look what we have here.
No victory lap.
What we have here.
You already took your victory lap. I don't want to hear it.
I'm going to take it again here. Blake is 82-28 and Joe is 76-34. Yes, indeed. Going to give myself a round of applause.
You can't give yourself a round of applause. That's bullshit. That's ridiculous. That is.
I'm the one with the buttons behind the mic. I can do whatever I want. But I'm just going to say a convincing lead is starting to be taking hold here. So hopefully.
Okay.
Did you really, for Baylor and West Virginia, put I'm not picking West Virginia?
I told you, whatever you texted me, I'm putting on the graphic. So you better give me a real pick next time.
Oh God, this is so great. That's so great. I couldn't believe you were gonna do that.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off here. Georgia and Tennessee, Joe, both of us taking the dogs.
Uncertainty with Nico's situation. There's different sources on if he's playing or he's not playing. It's confusing as hell, but he's going to be coming into the game banged up. You also have Dylan Sampson banged up from last game. The most critical part with all of this, the season's on the line. This Georgia team is not as good as it's been during its national championship runs, but it's not bad enough to be removed from the playoff picture with a loss at home to Tennessee. It's just not. I will be stunned. And I think there's a reason why most experts are picking an agreement with us. I would be stunned if they lost this game, because then it would really be a sign of something going on with this Georgia program, that they're dealing with issues. And I don't think that's the case.
I would not be stunned at all, because the same way that they've been getting beat is Carson Beck being bad and turning the ball over. It would not surprise me at all if they lost this game. But this is an interesting thing. Name a more intensified game in Athens than this one, because their fans have been wanting a whole game for a while that had some really big implications. I think that because of that, even because I do think Nico's going to play, because of that, Joe, that's why I'm going with Georgia. I know that both teams have a lot of flaws. I think both teams are pretty much even in a lot of directions, in a lot of ways. I'm just going to go with the home team and take the dogs. Texas and Arkansas, Joe, I got to admit, I almost took Arkansas here in an upset, but I'm rolling with the Longhorns.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that possibility for there to be an upset because of how gravely important that rivalry is to Arkansas. We had some Texas fans that were commenting that they didn't consider them a rival, but Arkansas does. And if anything,
Arkansas
that might
fans in there, they were like, "We want this one. We want this one." I'm like, "Uh-huh."
That's what leads to an upset, when one team doesn't even look at you as a challenger and the other one's got nothing to lose, and they've got this explosive run game that if you can't keep up with them, that they could sneak away with a win. But Texas, you're right. They are dominant against teams that have significant weaknesses, and I think that they're going to be able to put up some pretty big points in this one.
The pass defense I can't get past with Arkansas. That was the deciding factor with me about picking an upset here. Here's the problem. Georgia can't run the football, though, and I know that Arkansas can. I think this one's going to be a close one. I'm going to take Texas to eke it out small. To the guy.
I don't think it's going to be that close.
It's going to be close. As the man who's got the lead in these games right now, you must listen to your boy. It's going to be closer than the experts think here. All right, Colorado and Utah, both of us going with the Buffaloes.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why Colorado wouldn't win this game. And also, we hit Colorado fans. I don't know why we pick you guys and we say that you're going to kick the crap out of your opponent, and then we spend a couple of minutes on okay, here's where some things could go wrong. It's a part of the preview. We're not picking against you. Colorado is going to win this football game. They are too explosive for Utah with the injuries that they've dealt with. Rotating quarterback, or not rotating quarterbacks, but musical chairs at quarterback, and the uncertainty just overall with the direction of this team. Colorado is built to kick the crap out of this Utah program.
Dude, I'm so with you. Every time we pick them, it's like, hey, they're 132nd out of 130 teams running the football.
You're not allowed to bring that up?
We're not right. Joe, they are second to last out of 133 teams in running the football. if a more physical team can line up and bust you in the mouth, which, by the way, Utah's secondary does not suck. Okay, let's get that through our minds right now. It does not suck. We have seen more physical football teams whoop up on teams this year. Joe, I do agree. Colorado has a lot of athleticism. If Utah stays around here early and they start you know how I think about this game of how it could go? North Dakota State. They got a North Dakota State them.
Yeah, that's plausible.
They got a Nebraska them, right? Be more physical, take it to them and see what happens, but I'm still going to take the Buffs here. Oregon and Wisconsin, both of us going with the Ducks.
Yeah, we've never doubted Oregon in games like this where they're playing against a middling team in the Big Ten. And speaking on a team that's dealing with their own lack of identity, they've got their own problems in their program with Jack Del Rio and all that crap. That's a distraction.
Does that really affect the players, though?
Yeah, I would say so. If you've got somebody who's around the program and then something like that happens, I'd say that's an unnecessary distraction.
So when I'm sitting at practice lined up across a defensive lineman, I'm not thinking, man, I can't believe Coach Del Rio got a DUI this week.
Well, I'm not. It doesn't seep in like that, but it's like damn, like the season's not going that well, and now this happens. Like people are laughing at us. All I'm saying though is Oregon. They rolled against Maryland. They rolled against Michigan. They rolled against Michigan State, Illinois. Wisconsin's not much better than any of those teams. They're going to be able to kick their ass.
I humbly agree with you in this one. I don't think Wisconsin's got any personnel that's going to be able to overcome Oregon. You have two USCs on here, and South Carolina.
South Carolina doesn't fit when I type it out, and I don't want to shrink it, so it's just easier to do USC.
All right, sounds good. South Carolina versus Mizzou. Both of us going with South Carolina. Joe, here's your chance to redeem yourself and get back in the good graces of South Carolina.
That's not going to happen. They hate me. It's not going to happen, Blake. I could say the nicest thing. I just saw a comment. I clicked over and I saw a comment that said, is Joe trying to rage bait us because it's working? I was arguing with you, and they think I'm like attacking them. It's the weirdest fan base because they just don't. They take everything so personally, and it's so frustrating. What I was gonna say though with this game, I'm sorry, South Carolina fans, if you think that I hate you. I wish it wasn't the case.
He does.
They are. Stop it. They are so much more physically dominant along the line of scrimmage on defense compared to Missouri's offensive line. I think this game is going to be exactly like the Oklahoma game.
If Brady Cook does play, if Brady Cook's available to go, this game can be closer than what we're talking about and what we've been talking about all week. Because I have no idea of his status or what's happening there, even if he was playing, I do think that South Carolina is kind of hinting a little bit of a peak here. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. Like, Joe, man, I mean, that was actually what started the argument last week or this week. So I just think that they're too good defensively, and Missouri's not going to be able to move the football on them. So give me South Carolina. Clemson and Pitt, both of us going with the Tigers.
Yeah, I think that Pitt was a paper tiger. I get it. Get it? Because they're playing Clemson. Pitt was a paper tiger, though. They were not as competitive.
Bad pun there. Bad dad pun.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. They were not as competitive as we thought that they were. I, of course, always support Coach Narduzzi because he's a former Rhody Ram football player. They don't have enough, I think, offensively in this game, and I don't think that they're built enough up front in their offensive line to slow down that Clemson front, so I'm going with Clemson.
I agree. I think Pitt is fraudulent. I think their secondary is very, very, very bad, arguably the worst in the ACC, even with the 5 picks on Kyle McCord. That should go ahead and justify you, Joe, on all your Kyle McCord slander. But with that being said, I'm going with Clemson. Still have a little bit of life left in the tank there, them in the ACC. Kansas State and Arizona State. Joe, this one hurts me a little. I really wanted to go Arizona State here, but my mind just would not allow me to do it. I'm going with the Wildcats and Kansas State here.
I was super close going with Arizona State because Cam Scatterbo is supposed to play. I think that there is a possibility that they could pull out that upset, but I didn't want to get too risky here. I think that Kansas State, their front, is going to be able to have enough success. You know what? Screw it. I need to get back in this thing. Give me Arizona State. Cam Scatterbo's playing. Give me Arizona State.
Okay, then
I need to get back in this.
And I'm taking Arizona State to block you.
What? No, come on. You can't do that. That's a dick thing to do. You picked. You're just doing that to cause problems here. That's why you're doing that. You're not doing that because you know believe in the pick.
Payback's a bitch because you did the exact same thing to me a year ago. You would literally come to the show and start changing picks. Yes, you did.
You always change picks. You would text me on Saturdays and change your pick. I don't want to hear that. You're the one who's always changed. I never changed my picks last year.
All right, you're going with Arizona State.
Yeah,
I'll let you. I will let you. I will allow you to get a little bit closer so you don't look as bad. So I'm going to roll and stay with Kansas State. By the way, every time you do this and you flip on me, you've been losing. This is how the separation starts. You come to the show, you convince yourself. I really do hope Arizona State does win, though, with Coach Dillingham. This is another one that we disagree with here. Southern Cal versus Nebraska. I'm going with USC. You're going with Nebraska.
I'm hoping that the Dana Holgorsen adjustment here is enough. And I'm putting a lot of faith in that. I have a feeling and I'm hoping that Raiola can have one of his bigger games. Speaking of distractions, we didn't talk about this, but the coaching violations for USC. I think that that's a coaching distraction for the coaching staff, not the roster, but for the coaching staff. And I think that that certainly could leak into this game.
I don't think the Dana Holgorsen thing's going to be as big as you think it is. That was another argument we got in this week.
Yeah.
They literally come from the same tree. They literally were on the same staff with one another with Mike Leach. If there's anybody that knows Dana Holgorsen better than Dana Holgorsen, it's Lincoln. Like literally. So I understand what you're trying to say here, but Joe, I can't do it. I see a Nebraska team that literally cannot run the football in moments. I get it. I get it, USC. I get it, and I don't have a lot of faith in this pick either. My gut is just telling me to go with USC for whatever reason here. Notre Dame. Let's skip Notre Dame and Virginia because we're about to do a preview of them. Baylor, but we're both going with Notre Dame. Baylor and West Virginia. I'm going with Baylor, and so are you. I will never pick for West Virginia again.
See, you have such a vendetta against West Virginia, and the West Virginia stinks because they're gone, they're out of the equation. So,
well,
you and I literally did the same thing.
They benched Garrett Green, though. By the way, you know this.
I know.
Okay,
but you and I literally did the same exact thing. The same exact thing happened where we got a fan base pissed off at us for the way that we've talked about them over the past year, and because South Carolina is doing well, they're coming at me. And now you're the good guy in this situation, but we're never going to hear from the West Virginia fans because they suck.
Well, no, I mean, my take was correct. Garrett Green does stink. So I was just right. Either way, Dave Aranda is a close friend of the program. In no form or fashion will anybody on Ruffino and Joe show ever pick against Dave Aranda.
I think outside of what you just said, I've got no ties to Dave Aranda, so I've got no reason to support him. However,
he loves Ruffino and Joe show. You better.
Okay. I support Coach Aranda because he has picked himself up off the mat, and this team has been hot. They have been hot, and I can't go against the hot hand.
Dave. It's the glasses he's been wearing on the sidelines. He looks like Professor X from X-Men.
I didn't even notice.
He looks like Charles Xavier.
Oh, my God.
All right.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. Bet online, where the game starts.